Insecticide spray and quell. Kumin tuntum prekun.
Hello and good evening. Welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live from Aniyuzabata Desawe Kanda, also live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. I am Alfred Okonse. Tonight, ECOWAS court dismisses former Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono's case against Ghana, while the Supreme Court here in Ghana has prepared to rule on related cases on July 2. Now, we're going to examine the legal issues and implications tonight, because it's a lot that's happening after the ECOWAS court has just given its verdict on the matter today. That's the Supreme Court of Ghana also consolidating all four running cases in the matters related to the former Chief Justice and her removal. We'll get to see exactly how things will play out in the coming days. Also, it's been 24 hours of joy and a lot to celebrate. Ghana's Black Stars have been widely praised for holding England to a goalless draw. We assess what worked well and where the team can improve going into that crucial Croatia game tonight. Also, residents of Samreboi displaced by floods amid growing concerns over illegal mining activities. Well, it's been days after this particular incident, but we look at the impact and the calls for intervention. What kind of intervention are these CSOs who are knocking on the doors of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources and government asking for? Stay with us. We have a conversation tonight on these matters and more. As always, you're an integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and on X. Let's get talking. Let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
The ECOWAS Community Court has dismissed the case of former Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Esaba Tokonu, challenging her removal from office. The ECOWAS Court, in its ruling, dismissed all her reliefs, citing that there was no evidence of bias or motivation of ill will by the committee that heard her petition or the decision of the President to remove her from office. Members of Parliament have expressed mixed reactions to the ECOWAS Court dismissing a case filed by former Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono.
Basis the fact that this has never happened before in the history of our country. It was putting, the justice system into jeopardy. And so I was expecting a better response from ECOWAS, at least to see her case, try it and let us know that, justice is being pursued. If even the external courts did not grant the reliefs that she sought, I don't see how, internal courts here will do any justice to what she's seeking.
A member was maintained from the beginning of the case that Justice Tokono had no case. It is after you have exhausted local remedies that you go to the international court. You remember that the Attorney General filed a preliminary objection which was put aside, and the court said that we are going to take over the matter. So it is done. It is finished.
The lead shipper, a Ghanaian national, in the $208 million Australian methamphetamine scandal, has been arrested, according to the Director General of the Narcotics Control Commission, Brigadier General Maxwell Obuba Mante. The operation took 3 nights in collaboration with the Bureau of National Investigation and other security agencies.
Through the efforts of Narcotics, in collaboration with the Bureau of National Investigation and other security agencies, I'm happy to announce that we have picked the lead cheaper. We did that over 3 nights. My officers slept out of their homes for 3 months and successfully picked the person who led that enterprise. We'll be picking more. We'll get to the bottom of this enterprise and make sure that Ghana will not be declared as a narco state.
The Ministry of Education has called for calm among teachers who have applied for recruitment. According to the ministry, by Tuesday, June 30, the review process will be completed, paving the way for the recruitment of 7,000 teachers from the more than 40,000 applicants.
Process has been very, very meticulous, because if you have a lot of candidates applying for such limited vacancy, you need to put in a lot of due diligence in order to be able to get the right applicants for the job. But let me put it on record that this will not be the first or the last recruitment exercise. As and when the finance ministry issue another recruitment to the ministry will announce again for other people to apply.
The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission has announced new tariff beginning July 1, and think tanks are conflicted over the decision. Among others, the PURC says the stability of the city and the generation mix are to blame.
We are more sympathetic to the consumer than the utility service provider, because the issues that come on to be considered for the adjustment are tilted more to the disadvantage of the consumer, and we protect that interest to the highest. The most important thing I keep saying is the reliability and balancing that with the cost. And as I can assure you, more effort is kept in the reliability, because the reliability and the stability top priority, and then costs we are working on to ensure that it's not a burden to all of us.
There's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. As always, it's brought to you by Sasso Insecticide Spray and Coil, Tum Precom. Coming up next on Ghana Tonight, we'll start a journey tonight at the ECOWAS court, because they have dismissed the former Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Esabatokono's case. But with a Supreme Court ruling here in Ghana looming, is the matter really settled? And the conversation we're going to be having is whether or not the development in the ECOWAS courts would have any bearing on what will be happening in the coming days here in Ghana. But as you might rightly be aware, it's a matter that has been developing over the last at least 14 hours. Earlier today, the ECOWAS Community Court has dismissed the case of the former Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Esabatokono, challenging her removal from office. This is one of about 5 or 6 cases. This is an unprecedented development in our country's history, that's in the Fourth Republic for that matter. And so you would understand why there was a lot that's been happening regarding the number of cases that are challenging her removal. The ECOWAS court case is one of them. She decided to test the law at the ECOWAS level. But earlier today, in its ruling, the ECOWAS court has dismissed all her reliefs, citing that there was no evidence of bias or motivation of ill will by the committee that had her petition or the decision of the president to remove her from office. So all reliefs just quashed by the ECOWAS court. But the Deputy Attorney General, Minister of Justice, Dr. Justice Samreboi, put this notice out earlier today. We're going to recall the reliefs, some of which he was seeking from the ECOWAS court. And this is what Justice Samreboi put out. It says the ECOWAS Community Court has, a while ago, and this was earlier today, dismissed of all the 7 claims which the former Chief Justice, Her Ladyship Justice Gertrude Tokono, brought against our beloved Republic. One of the reliefs that she was seeking was a $10 million damages. The court held that, quote, in light of the court's conclusions that Ghana has not violated any of the applicant's rights under the African Charter as alleged, the court makes no decision on reparations. So that relief, or the claim that she was making, that essentially the country or Ghana should pay her some $10 million, that was not granted by the courts, the ECOWAS courts. He goes on to say, thanks again to our team of illustrious state attorneys who put in hours and hours of research to support the Republic's defense. He says, the year. Well, that's just a shame side there. But there's a lot that's happening in this particular regard. And we're going to get there soon, because after this ECOWAS court ruling, that doesn't end the matter. Because as I did indicate, there are a number of active cases already at the Supreme Court here in Ghana regarding this same matter of the removal of the former Chief Justice. And the Supreme Court has taken a decision regarding at least 4 of the cases, the active 4 cases regarding the removal of the Chief Justice, and that will happen in the coming days. So we'll get to that in a bit. But my colleague and our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent, Christian Yale, put this question to some members of Parliament after we learnt of this development. This is what they had to say about the ECOWAS court's ruling. Take a look.
Basis the fact that this has never happened before in the history of our country. It was putting, the justice system into jeopardy. And so I was expecting a better response from ECOWAS, at least to see her case, try it and let us know that, justice is being pursued. If even the external courts did not grant the reliefs that she sought, I don't see how, internal courts here will do any justice to what she's seeking.
You have always maintained from the beginning of the case that Justice Tokono had no case. It is after you have exhausted local remedies that you go to the international court. You remember that the Attorney General filed a preliminary objection which was put aside, and the court said that we are going to take over the matter. So it is done.
Well, beyond the members of Parliament, these are the 4 cases that we're talking about that are still pending regarding the removal of the former Chief Justice. This, the first of the 4, in no particular order, by the way, is a suit that was brought by the Old Tafo Member of Parliament, Vincent Tekwasefwa, essentially challenging the decision to remove the former Chief Justice. That, and also one that was brought by some CSOs, Center for Citizenship, Constitution and Electoral Systems. And then the third case that also is active regarding this particular removal is one by Theodore Kofi Atta Korte, and a suit filed by the former Chief Justice herself. So these 4 cases have not been ruled upon as yet, and are active cases in the Supreme Court of Ghana. So here's what the Supreme Court of Ghana has done. It is not going to hear these 4 cases individually, because a number of the reliefs being sought, are basically similar if you look at it. So here's what the Supreme Court, based on the communication that we got today, they have decided that July 2 is the day for the judgment on all cases or active cases regarding the removal of the former Chief Justice. July 2 is the date to watch. So they're going to put together all these 4 cases. They are consolidating all these 4 pending cases, the ones I just referenced. And then on July 2, judgment will be delivered on these former Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono removal consolidated cases. It's 4 of them. So July 2 is the date to watch for the ruling on these 4 cases. Also keep in mind that beyond that, after July 2, there's going to be another judgment to expect on July 3. That's Chamawon Tumi's case as well. So within that particular week, in the first week of July, July 2, July 3, the courts are going to be busy with judgment and rulings. So we'll keep an eye on that. But this is the panel that will be hearing this case or the consolidated cases regarding the removal of the former Chief Justice. His Lordship Justice Amadou Tanko and His Lordship Justice Emmanuel Yoni Kolendi, His Lordship Justice Henry Anthony Kofi, His Lordship Justice Senyor Jamepe, and then His Lordship Justice Sir Dominic Dennis Ajay, His Lordship Justice Afisata Amaleboba, and His Lordship, no, Her Lordship, Her Ladyship, I beg your pardon, Her Ladyship Justice Afisata Amaleboba, and then also His Lordship Justice Kweku Teria Akabuafo, all there, as you see it. So this, and pardon me for the error there, that's Her Ladyship Justice Amaleboba, and then also these. So these are the 7-member panel that will be hearing these consolidated cases as we have it in there. So that's the date to watch as well, July 2, for these cases. But Martin Pebu is private legal practitioner, is one who's been consistent about conversations regarding the removal of the former Chief Justice. Is joining us on Zoom right now. Counsel, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. And I start off with the ruling by the ECOWAS court and the brief detail that we got from the Deputy Attorney General regarding some of the reliefs that the former Chief Justice sought, and the decision by the courts to not even grant all 7 claims that she was making. How does this get to you?
Yeah, so so on the, let's say, the larger part, I'm not surprised, but there's a bit of a surprise too on a smaller scale. So let's go to what I'm not surprised about. What I'm not surprised about is the removal from office. Oh, that one, it was always clear from the one that it will be, I mean, almost, well, let me be careful. You know, though the ECOWAS court has ruled, you know, the Supreme Court is here to rule on her case. That one, I understand the judgment is on July 2nd or so. You can double check. So let's be measured. So I would say that I'm not surprised, because one thing that's clear to me, let me break the case down. Simple. You see, the tickets Justice Tokono bought for her daughter and her husband, you will not find that she's entitled to do that in her own conditions of service. You see it. Article 70 and 71 office holders, no? Periodically we have an expert is appointed to do a report, etc. Then the president will approve and all that. So what I'm saying is that when you look at her conditions of service, there is no policy or there's no provision inside there for those tickets. It was a certain policy the judiciary developed at a certain point, and that's one of the previous Chief Justice. And actually, I think Sophie Kufu, while she was in office, that was there. Yeah, so long story short, with time, it's been proven that it's an illegal policy. Simple story. So because that one is unknown to the Constitution. You see where the problem is. So it was always clear in my mind that as for the tickets, when you put all together, about 300 and something thousand, and so which form the basis for, her removal, that's the main plank of the case. It was always clear to me that, look, once it's public funds, even if it's one Ghana, you won't find a reasonable committee saying, oh, one Ghana is too small. A Chief Justice is a big office. So because of that, 300 and something thousand is no money. No. You see, 300 and something thousand is no money. I know in the large sections of our population, that is the case. But we don't use the upper classes to judge. What we judge is that it's public funds. So that's money that should be available to the lowest employee to the highest. And let's remind ourselves about this. A lot of people don't know. There are millions and millions of our citizens who don't earn even 100,000 annually. So can say, let's make that point. Millions of our citizens, if you take their salary from January to December, put all together, they don't earn 100,000. So where you get up and say, oh, 300 and something thousand is no money. Yes, I know those circles where we say that's no money, but we don't use that for public discourse. Not when the Constitution is concerned and then the Constitution says we should protect public property, etc. You see, so those making the arguments, oh no, this hasn't reached a level of removal, no, they are dead wrong. Even if it was 1 Ghana, once there is a leak and you find out that you are not entitled to take the 1 Ghana, if somebody insists that the rules be applied, yes, we can only beg the person that, oh, when it's 1 Ghana, can we have mercy? Just like this one, you see how when this matter came, we're pleading that can she be allowed to resign? Can she be allowed to resign? But of course, she spurned the opportunity. She spurned it. But the record will show that at a point, President Mahama even agreed that she should resign. But she spurned it and chose to fight. And of course, it was always clear that she was going to lose that one. But right now, we still have the Supreme Court yet to decide. So we'll be measured and wait for the Supreme Court to also come out. I understand July 2nd. You can double check the date. But the main thing is that the Supreme Court has not yet decided on similar claims that she put before them.
And indeed, July 2 is a date to watch regarding those cases you referenced pending before the Supreme Court. But, Counsel, you referenced what didn't surprise you in this ECOWAS ruling. Is there any element of surprise in there for you?
To the side, I was surprised, and so I want to see the judgment of the ECOWAS court. Is there two things. One, the time they were not allowing her to be accompanied by any person. You see that by the time we finished the debates, generally we were agreed that saying the hearing should be in camera, it's not the same as saying nobody should accompany her. That's not, if the framers of the Constitution wanted to say that she cannot get support from a family or friend, they would have said so nobody should accompany her. Because we all know that when you are going to committee settings or if you are going to court, you're allowed to go with people who want to support you, right? But to just say that the in-camera also meant that nobody at all should come with her. I think that one, it was bad. So I would say some part of a loss of dignity, etc., a bit of it, yeah. So the matter of the failure to give a full ruling on the prima facie, because at that point we need to keep beating it so that it doesn't recur. It doesn't recur. When President Mahama decided that there should be there's a prima facie, they should have held President Mahama, the system, with a full ruling, like what Okujeto did for President Kufuor when Professor Kweku Asare presented a petition for removal of Justice Tokonu and it was thrown out. You see, the Kufuor's ruling came full one, giving reasons because of X, because of Y, because of Z. I refuse this. So we also, because we want to see how the decision was made. So those two, I thought she would have had something, but they are not sufficient. These two issues are not sufficient to cancel her removal. No, they don't reach that place. You know, I've quoted this case ad nauseum, the Chachuchikata case, where the Supreme Court held that when a court is making a prima facie determination and the court fails to give reasons, like now we are advocating that it should be full reasons, it is not sufficient to say that that failure should then let the accused person walk free, or that failure makes the whole trial unfair that they will stop. No, they say that it just shows that the person taking the decision can be accused of bias, thoughtlessness, malice, right? But as for the side, they will not say because of that the person should be freed. So in this case, we're not saying that because JM didn't give a full ruling, then the whole removal is wrong. No.
Reference the pending cases, as a matter of fact, and you're right about it, regarding the Supreme Court also going to take a decision on these 4 cases as I referenced earlier. This is the panel expected to sit on the case on July 2. That's the date that has been communicated, Council, for a judgment on these 4 consolidated cases regarding the removal of the former Chief Justice. I mean, with the fact that the ECOWAS court has ruled on this case and their verdict as communicated today, from where you sit, would it or can it have any bearing on these cases that are going to be adjudicated or ruled on July 2? I mean, I'm talking about the outcome of this ECOWAS court case today. Would it have any bearing whatsoever?
Can be yes in favor of this in her or no against her. So yes, because generally, depending on your confirmation bias that the removal is right, confirmation bias, you would say, oh, then in that case, it will be expected that the Supreme Court will even cite the ECOWAS court to say, you see, even ECOWAS court threw you out. We also throw you out. But it's also possible the Supreme Court will chart their own course. Okay, so it can cut both ways. Either it's for her that it will support her case, or it won't. Yes.
What are the odds from where you sit? I mean, you say the pendulum could swing either way. It could either favor her or not. But what's the possibility of either it favoring her or otherwise? I mean, taking into consideration all the elements at play.
Generally, it's expected that as for the removal, it will stand. That one is very clear to me. I've already told you. Yeah, that one very, very clear for the reasons that I gave. But where I expect that she will win would be that the human rights part, that she wasn't allowed to be accompanied by any person. I'm expecting, though I know it's possible they will throw it also out, but that particular point, we will keep beating it till we make sure that in future the rules allow that. I mean, come on, that's not the end of the world. The person is going to face a trial. The person needs 1 or 2 persons with her to give support. What is so sensitive about not letting anybody? What is it? The audit report itself had already leaked. The petitions, even if they don't leak, let's use this. Even if they don't leak, the basis of the allegations are even public documents. It was an audit report that flagged those things. That audit report is a public document. So what is so secretive about the process that somebody to even accompany her is a problem? So as for that one, even if it doesn't win that case, that particular leg here about the human rights, we'll keep beating it to make sure that we reform the rules to make them humane. Make them humane. That one and the failure to give a full reasoned ruling on the prima facie, these 2 things will keep hitting that. We will reform the laws. You know, at a point, you see that because the conversation even went on, you know, Majority Leader Mama Ayaga said they are going to come out with new rules. It's not everything that will lead to a removal. They will categorize them. And, you know, I mentioned that, yes, that kind of categorizing the offenses is a very popular thing that is currently done in our public sector here. If you take the police service, the regulation CI 76, you see major offenses, minor offenses. You see prison service, Ghana Education Service, a lot of the public sector services. You see major, minor, even judicial services for the workers. There are major offenses, there are minor offenses. So let's do the same for the Chief Justice too, so that it helps to build our system. Yes.
Council, appreciate you for this. Thank you. Thank you for your thoughts on this matter. As I did indicate, this is not the end of the issues regarding the removal of the former Chief Justice. So we'll wait for July 2, which is just a couple of weeks ahead of us. But thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. That's Martin Pebu. He's a private legal practitioner and also a member of the oral preparatory team. But away from that, let's get into sports. That's coming up here on Ghana Tonight. The Black Stars held England to a draw, but what did they get? With Thomas Partey coming in, returning after missing that opening game, controlling the midfield as we saw in there with focus. And despite what happened even before the game started, and that's got a lot of people condemning the act by Jet Spence who decided as a lone wolf not to extend the hand of greeting to Thomas Partey, and we're going to show that on the screen right now. This is one that generated quite some talk, and in fact, even condemnation on the part of some English football legends as to why Jed Spence decided to act on his own and not extend a hand to Thomas Partey. Well, with all of this happening before the game started, that did not affect the focus of Thomas Partey, especially and the team at large, because even though one person did not shake his hand, others, at least one person, Declan Rice, gave him a very, very big hug, as you're saying there, after the game. What a good one. But after the game, the coach of England, Thomas Tuchel, was asked this specific question about the act of this gentleman not greeting Thomas Partey. They declined to answer. They say it's a legal matter. Take a look.
Before the kick-off, there was the handshake that we've obviously written a lot about this week. It looked like Jed Spence, well, it more than looked like Jed Spence didn't shake Thomas Partey's hand. I just wondered, as his coach, what your thoughts are.
Sorry, Mike, for legal reasons, we aren't going to be discussing that today. So we have to move on from that, Ed. Thanks.
Speaking to you. There's going to be a lot. Oh, yeah, sorry, it's back. There's going to be a bit of a reaction, I think, from some.
Well, guess what? After all of that, it was celebration for not just Ghanaians across the world, but the Black Stars team themselves. And we'll show the coach doing the kakalika dance and the team as well. In the bus going to back to the hotel and to prepare for the next game. Take a look at this. Jude Bellingham was giving the man of the match. Many people, in fact, he himself, after receiving that man of the match, said he knows he doesn't deserve it, right? He believes, and he was very honest about it, that it should have gone to a Ghanaian. And many people had tipped Benjamin Asare, our goalkeeper, number one, in the polls yesterday, to be awarded that one. But take a listen to Benjamin Asare saying, look, it was just a normal game. Playing against Harry Kane and all those people was normal for him. Take a look.
It's normal. To me, personal self, I think it's normal because once I'm a footballer, Harry Kane is normal, yeah. It's normal because even if the top goalkeeper self, they consider a goal. They score them. So how much me they cannot score me? They can score me, but I want to prove in myself, or I want to prove to people to see that that's my job. So I can do it. So I'm so impressed that God let me get this point to the Ghana people.
Tell us about what it was like in the dressing room after the win. What did the coach say? Who came to talk to you?
Most of them, because they know myself, they know that I can do it. That was SM for life. Yes. That's my life, because I do it for my life. Yes. And I thank Almighty God that He has answered my prayers and everything makes successful.
He was our best player for many people, and together with the entire team as well, they did the best, give the best of them, and all of this was brought to you by our team on the ground there, our colleagues, that's Orekwan Pofo, and the general manager in charge of 3 Sports here at Media General, Michael Otieji, powering the coverage there for us. But Jerome Ochri is joining us on Zoom right now. He's a sports journalist as well, and Jerome has another hat he's wearing now with the Presbyterian Church of Ghana. But tonight, Jerome, thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. First of all, your assessment of the game yesterday, a goalless draw, that felt like a win, really, for all of us.
Yes, there are times that a draw can look like victory, especially when
it is all you look out for in a game. And I think yesterday's game, the coach clearly set out to defend. It was a strategy to get a point. And looking at what transpired, that was a good strategy because everyone who, follows football, even if you don't follow football, understanding the circumstance of our team and that of England, all we needed to do was to avoid defeat. And I think the coach clearly knew what he was about. The players also gave their best, playing to instructions. And it's important to acknowledge that what we did might not be what the English expected us to do. But what's the point? The point was that we needed to avoid defeat. We set out a strategy to get to that end. And to the extent that we got to that end, we have to commend the coach, commend the team, and look for more of that. More of progress, since it's a competition that the one that progresses stands the best chance of winning it.
And Jerome, I'm going to show you some statistics, but before we get into that, it was quite telling, the strategy that the coach went into this game with. Full defensive mode, nothing to concede in terms of going beyond our defense. Would you expect a change in tactics going into this crucial Croatia game on Saturday?
Well, I don't think the tactics are going to be the same because the English team, the Croatian team are not the same. And what is at stake might be 3 points, but you also have to look at the fact that we already have 4 points. I think that one more point could secure us a place in the next round of the competition. So the strategy will not be the same. I'm not too sure he's going to close up as tightly as he's positive at the competition.
And rightly so, Jerome. I'm going to put this on the screen. This is the statistics that Go.com put out after the match yesterday. The shots that have been faced without conceding, that's by some of the teams in this competition, the World Cup. Ghana has the highest number of shots that our goalkeeper has faced or the defense has faced without conceding. 30 shots. None of it has entered the goalpost as yet. Argentina follows with 13. That's a fraction of what we have faced. Mexico 12, Spain 9, 30. So that should tell you the impact and then also the effectiveness of the defensive strategy or the tactic that Carlos Queiroz is employing in this game. Some find it boring, but look, we're getting the results. That's really the most important thing. But Jerome, quite a number of talking points that the game left us with, is it not, yesterday? And I'm going to take it one after the other. I first of all want to start from that decision, that singular decision by Jed Spence not to extend that hand to Thomas Partey. It didn't distract them, didn't distract him especially. He put up a stellar performance yesterday. Many have said this is one of the best games Thomas Partey has had in a Black Star shirt. What's your take on that?
Oh, yes. We have to ignore the English and the kind of things they want to do. The Partey issue is not an issue that anybody would want to sweep aside. There is no question about the fact that he is facing an allegation that is yet to be proven. In fact, multiple allegations that are yet to be proven. What's important is what he did. He stayed calm, focused on the game, and delivered the results Ghanaians were looking for. If there are any group of players anywhere else who would think that because of the fact that he is facing allegations, they will not shake his hands or they will not even play with him, that's their business. Partey and the rest of the team must focus on why they are at the World Cup, and they are there to play and make Ghana proud.
And the next matter is that penalty call after that tackle by Ezri Konsa. And in fact, I've listened to a number of English football legends who have all indicated that this was a penalty. England just got away with it. because maybe the referee decided not to look our way. But are the players to blame for not protesting so much to get the referee to attend to it? Or the referee should have just done his job together with the VAR by looking into this?
There's no way I will blame the players. The players are not the ones that take decisions as to whether a goal has been scored or whether a foul has been committed and a penalty should be awarded when, the foul is in the 18-yard box. It was the referee's business to do so, and he clearly decided not to give a penalty, or indeed, even the VAR officials, the VAR team should have called for some form of review. I have always said that even with the video assistant referee, we still see very ridiculous decisions given, and sometimes situations that call for review ignored. And yesterday's own was a typical example. The video assistant referee, even if it's a good technological system helping us to resolve controversies in football, is still manned or managed by human beings. And the human beings decide on British guys, and all of them, there's none that says that decision shouldn't have gone in the favor of Ghana. If they sought to give it, they would have given it. They just decided not to.
Jerome, this is quite clear, and what you have just stated is consistent with what we've also been reading. We're talking about Gary Neville, Wayne Rooney. Everybody is saying, not even just Ghanaians, many people across the world saying that was a penalty ban. And another ridiculous decision as well that was taken beyond this penalty one was the man of the match. As well. Even the person who received the man of the match says, look, I don't think I deserve it. How ridiculous could this have been, Jerome?
Yes, you see, footballers can be very honest when they choose to. And that admission by Jude, Bellingham, clearly tells you that he understands the game. He saw what happened yesterday. Ghana defended very well. And people who have said that, why did we go the way we went, and it is not decent for football. Somebody even, I think I read it somewhere, that we played voodoo tactics. Some have even called it demon football.
And on that note, maybe finally, before I let you go, there are many who are looking at what could change or what should possibly change going into that Croatia game. You indicated earlier that you expect tactics to change, not so defensive as we've been in the last two games, because we need to win. We can win in this crucial Croatia game. But should Benjamin Asare, in your view, still be in the post as the goalkeeper, even if Lawrence Atikizi that recovers from this injury that has kept him out?
I have to make a confession that I'm not one of those who believed that he should have started going to the tournament. I tipped Atizigi to start, and indeed Ati started, except he got injured and Asari had to come in. Given the little exposure he has had, and why do I even call it little? It's such a huge exposure. Playing to a clean sheet against England is something you cannot gloss over, especially when it's at the World Cup. I don't think it would be wise, even if Ati is fit to play, to drop Asari at this level and bring in Ati. The way Asari has taken off, the composure he showed yesterday, if he's able to play in a game against England, keeping a clean sheet, I don't see how he cannot keep the same against Croatia if all the other guys are going to come to the party as they did in the England game.
Jerome, appreciate you as always. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. We'll wait for that game in the next few days ahead of us. It's a must-win for Ghana, as you did indicate. Thank you. Jerome Moche is a sports journalist as well as a writer. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. We're back shortly after this quick break. We'll tell you how the people of Samreboi are dealing with the impact of the floods, which many are pointing to being the result of illegal mining activities in and around that area. Stay with us.
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kale Charcoal Toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job, we spend several hours under the scorching sun. To keep our teeth white and our breath fresh all the time, we use none other than Kale Charcoal Toothpaste. Kale Charcoal Toothpaste. You're on a Kessie and in a kit one.
Samayo Kendini, a who be here, Semetra Sapapadia to a mammy man for Kale Charcoal's natural ingredients, and a bomb is several buying, a man is swing, and a sense of Mama Hoto so a will bedroom.
Kale Charcoal Toothpaste. Choose Kale Charcoal Toothpaste for anti-cavity, whiter teeth, and fresher breath all day. Available in 80 gram and 150 gram. Grab yours today.
Kale, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Yes, next. Hey, Nadia Benson, Asamo.
Me didn't tum. Mr. Freddy Calico just call me cockroach. Now, Mr. Freddy once now. Hey, is that you? Improve car. Yeah. Captain Mosquito, double the action. Me did this, that's so spray. Mr. Freddy, that's so well. Yeah, go to my house.
Welcome back, and this is Ghana Tonight, and we're live on 3FM 92.7. Coming up next, the flood crisis that has hit Samreboi in the Amenfi West municipality of the Western region is far from over, and the situation is growing more dangerous, and that's quite concerning for the residents there, because rising water levels are now forcing the evacuation of families sheltering at the Methodist Church close to the river. What we're showing you right now, these are drone shots, shots from the skies, giving you an idea of the extent of the devastation that this particular area has been dealt with as a result of the rising water levels, and largely many have pointed to illegal mining. And analysts are already convinced that it is galamsey that is the cause of this disaster that we're seeing. They want urgent action to stem the tide of this flooding that we are seeing right now in this particular area. Daryl Bosu is Deputy Director, National Director of Arocha Ghana. Daryl is joining us on Zoom. Daryl, appreciate you. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. You're quite familiar with this Samreboi area, is it not? With your work regarding illegal mining and how that impacts on forest reserves, especially across the country. Would you say that this is a matter of galamsey?
Alfred, thank you very much. I think all of us are very much aware that Samreboi is one of the communities that is lying south of the Tunnel River Basin. And as such, we have also seen that there's a lot of illegal mining activities happening south of the basin, the Tunnel River. And this is where you have also Samreboi really situated. So with all the illegal mining activities happening, that has kind of clogged the river channel, removed the riparian vegetation, all of that, you expect that these kind of developments would happen. I mean, this year the rains have been quite intense and coming in as heavy as it than the last year. So with the information we're getting from meteorological authority, it means that there's going to be more rains. And with the rains and our rivers all choked, and also with the mining going on that has diverted a lot of the rivers like the tunnel downstream, you are surely going to expect this kind of development. So for me, I am not really surprised by the development happening there, also in the Samreboi area as well, which is also downstream. And I really hope that our state agencies, our traditional authorities and persons in some of these communities who have a say will start paying attention to the call for us to start taking steps to protect our environment, and particularly our rivers. Because if a river is blocked, it will definitely find new cause. And this is what we have seen in the Samreboi area. So I think that it's quite surprising that we sat down for us to get to this point. But with all the galamsey that is happening around our rivers, river bodies, this shouldn't be a big surprise to all of us.
And I say, you talk about it not being a big surprise. We've known this regarding the illegal mining in the Samreboi area. In fact, that area and the illegal mining is a subject of a court case involving Bernadette Chibuesako Chamawontumi, which is a case in court as we speak at the Supreme Court. And July 3, we'll get to know the ruling of the courts on that particular matter. So it's publicly known, the activities of illegal mining or illegal miners in this Samreboi area. And from where you sit, based on the work you've done and the knowledge of the area, you say a big part of this flooding that we have seen over the last few days is as a result of the galamsey or illegal mining going on in the area?
I mean, Alfred, yes, I acknowledge that in most of our communities, our buildings and planning are not well done. So you have sometimes buildings and waterways and all of that, and clogged gutters and all that. But in this case of Samreboi, this is a river that has overflown its banks and really has resulted in this kind of carnage. And so to this extent, you cannot put the blame than to say that, yes, galamsey has contributed significantly to that. I would be surprised if anybody comes with any other reason why this is happening. Yes, the rains are coming in heavy. People will say it is climate change and all that. But listen, let's be very frank with ourselves. This is not artificial. This is really an artificial case of we not managing our river systems well. So when the water flows, instead of it having some areas more like to settle and to take away the force of the floods, we have destroyed all of these areas. So the rivers have nowhere to go than to come directly to our homes. And this is what we're experiencing in the Samreboi area, also downstream at St. River. So I think we need to be paying attention to this and not always explaining it away. So my brother, it is nothing more than the galamsey coming back to hunt us.
Daryl, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. And this is one that we'll keep an eye on here on Ghana Tonight. We'll be, in fact, updating you on it and also find out how this is impacting the community regarding the evacuation of these persons who have been affected by the floods there. Daryl Bosso is Deputy National Director of Arocha, Ghana. Before we go, I need to make a quick correction on regarding the panel that will be sitting, presiding over the case, the consolidated 4 cases that is with regards to the removal of the former Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Isaba Tokono. As you see there, His Lordship Justice Amado Tanko is there, His Lordship Justice Emmanuel Yonikolende is there, His Lordship Justice Henry Anthony Kofi, and His Lordship Justice Senor Jamepe. And then we have His Lordship Justice Sir Dominic Dennis J. Her Ladyship Justice Hafisata Abmaliboba is there. And then, and this is where we make that quick correction, His Lordship Simon Sobare is the 7th judge, Supreme Court judge on this particular case. So please kindly take note of that. These are the 7 persons who will be sitting on this particular case. And July 2 is the date to watch, because that is the date that has been communicated to us that we should expect the ruling of the justices of the Supreme Court who will be presiding over this case regarding the 4 consolidated cases of the removal of the former Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Isaba Tokono. You'll find more of this on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. On behalf of the rest of the team, we do appreciate your company. I am Alfred Conce. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you.